Dad passed me a bread basket and said, "We didn't get enough for you." Across the table, my sister sliced into a $400 steak while her husband laughed. "Be thankful you're even invited." I kept quiet. When dessert arrived, the waiter handed me the $4,600 check. I looked at their table, nodded once, and told him, "Send it to the people who actually ate." Then I walked out, leaving them shouting behind me.
"Don't twist your face like that, Elijah," Dad snapped, slamming his fork down. "You always think you're the victim." Across the table, Clara rolled her eyes and took another delicate bite of her $400 steak. "He's mad because the world doesn't hand him things like Grandpa did," she said, smirking. Her husband, Evan, leaned back with his wine. "Be grateful you're even invited, man. Some people earn their seat, not beg for it."
The restaurant lights flickered off the polished glasses, but I couldn't taste a thing. The smell of butter and steak filled the air, heavy as the silence that followed. Dad pushed a small bread basket toward me. "There. We didn't order enough for you." A waiter passed by, awkwardly glancing between us. I forced a small nod, hands steady, but inside something cracked. Then Dad looked right at me and said, "We know what you did with Grandpa's money." The world went still. I'm Elijah Ward, 27 years old. The quiet one. The one they never looked at long enough to understand. When people like my father said, "Elijah doesn't cause trouble," what they really meant was, "He swallows it." I was the kid who paid their bills when Dad's investments went wrong, the one who fixed Evan's car when he couldn't afford the mechanic, the one who sent Mom flowers on birthdays that everyone else forgot. But the funny thing about silence is, it keeps score. And tonight wasn't about food. It was about debt. Not money, emotional debt. The family. Richard Ward, my father, retired accountant, professional controller of everything and everyone. Diane, my mother, a woman who says, "I love you" by pretending she doesn't see what's happening. Clara, 32, Dad's golden child, the responsible one. Beautiful, loud, confident, and deeply cruel when she wants to be. Evan, her husband, wealthy once, broke now, pretending otherwise. When Grandpa died, they didn't even call me. I found out through a Facebook post, a photo of them smiling in black clothes, captioned, "Rest easy, Dad. We'll make you proud." 2 days later, I got a text from Clara. "He left everything to us. Don't make this uncomfortable." That text is still pinned on my phone. At dinner, Clara dabbed her mouth with a napkin, fake elegance dripping from every move. "You wouldn't have handled Grandpa's assets anyway," she said. "He trusted me with the estate because I know how to manage things." I smiled faintly. "You're right," I said. "That's why I let his lawyer handle it." Her fork froze mid-air. Dad frowned. "What lawyer?" I leaned back, calm, controlled. "The one Grandpa hired before he changed his will, about 3 weeks before he passed." Clara laughed too loudly. "You're lying," Evan added. "Sounds like wishful thinking." But Mom's hand trembled slightly and I caught it. She knew. Dad's voice rose, raw and angry. "You come here after everything we've done for you," I laughed quietly. "Everything you've done to me, you mean?" His face turned red. "You always twist things," Clara interrupted. "You were never grateful. Grandpa helped you through college and you still barely made something of yourself." I looked at her plate, then back at her. "Maybe that's because every time I started to stand, you were the first to pull the chair away." The waiter appeared, uncertain, holding dessert menus. No one noticed him. Dad leaned forward. "You've been poisoning this family with your bitterness since you were a kid." I smiled coldly. "Then maybe it's time you taste it." That silence, heavy, sharp, was louder than any shouting could be. I remembered being 21, broke and terrified. My dad had promised to help me with rent that month. Instead, he sent a message. "Your sister's starting her business. She needs the support more than you." I slept in my car for 3 nights that week, and when Grandpa found out, he called me to his place. He made me breakfast himself, eggs and black coffee, and said, You don't need their approval to be decent, Elijah. You just need to remember who you are. Then he handed me an envelope, sealed, old-fashioned. For when they pretend to forget you again, he whispered. 3 weeks later, he was gone, and they made sure I didn't get that envelope. At least that's what they thought. I opened my phone and pressed one button. All 4 of their phones buzzed at once. Dad's eyes darted down. Clara's fork slipped. Mom gasped, hand over her mouth. It was Grandpa's final will. The real one. It named me as the primary heir, with a clause about Clara's misuse of trust funds and Evan's unauthorized withdrawals. Dad went pale. "What is this?" I said quietly. "The truth you all buried under your steak knives." Clara's face drained of color. "You hacked something," I cut her off. "No, I just opened what he left me." Evan muttered. "You can't prove?" I interrupted again, calmly. "The lawyer can. He's been waiting for your call." Dad stood up so fast his chair toppled. "You're destroying this family." I stood too. "You destroyed it the day you decided love had a price tag." Mom whispered, "Please, Elijah, not like this." I turned to her. "I begged for peace for years. You all taught me silence. Now it's your turn to listen." The waiter finally came back, nervous, holding the printed check, $4,600. He looked unsure who to hand it to. I took it, looked at the numbers, then looked at them, and said quietly, "Send it to the people who actually ate." Then I set it back down, walked out, and never looked back. Behind me, I heard Dad shouting for the waiter, Clara snapping at Evan, Mom sobbing quietly, all the sounds of a family that finally had to clean their own mess. Outside, the night air tasted free. For the first time in years, I didn't have to pretend I was okay. My phone vibrated. Messages from Clara. "You're cruel. You'll regret this." Grandpa wouldn't approve. I typed back one line. "Grandpa wrote this ending himself." Then I blocked her. I walked home slowly under quiet streetlights, not angry, not victorious, just empty, but lighter somehow. Justice doesn't always heal, but it clears space for peace. Weeks later, there was a knock on my door. Mom, she looked small, like guilt had finally started to show on her skin. "I didn't know they used his money," she said softly. I believed her. Maybe she didn't, but she watched it happen. I nodded. "You didn't stop it either." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "You sound like your grandfather." I smiled. "That's the best thing anyone's ever told me." When she left, I stood by the window for a long time. "For the first time," I whispered, "I don't carry their weight anymore." If you were in Elijah's place, would you forgive, or would you walk away forever? Tell me in the comments. Your voice matters here. If you felt Elijah's pain, hit like, share your thoughts, because silence may protect you, but truth sets you free. And subscribe for more real human stories that remind us what family should mean.